Guys, my name is Luke Anderson, and I am the Client Success Director with the Kingdom. And today I have Queen Johnson out of Dallas, Fort Worth with me. How's it going, Queen?
It's going good.
Good. Thanks for joining me. We were just talking before the recording, and Queen has been, her and I have been in the Kingdom community for a hot minute. And it was funny because we met at the Dallas Kingdom Connect 2019. And I know that because I just found my shirt from that
Okay.
event. And I just had some pictures pop up, like I was telling you as we were talking, popped up. It was like, oh, memories from that event. So we've both been in the Kingdom for a while, and I've known Queen for a while. And when she agreed to come on this interview, I was really excited because she's been able to really do a lot of really cool things in real estate and in her plumbing business. That is really inspiring. So I wanted to bring her on, talk with her, just have a discussion. My hope is that it inspires you because she's an amazing person. So again, Queen, thanks for being here, and good to reconnect with you.
Yes, absolutely.
So to start things off, can you give a brief snapshot of what you did to get into real estate and why you got into real estate in the beginning?
In the beginning, so I was working for, the plumbing company that I was working for at that time, Brand, and I was traveling a lot for them. I was the traveler, and I was on the road. I had a 6-hour drive, and a friend of mine told me to, because I wanted to, I listen to books while I'm driving.
Sure.
And he was like, you should listen to Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I was like,
why? Why would I do that?
Do that. So he's like, just do it, and then call me afterwards. And I was like, okay. So listen to it, and of course, like everyone else says when they read that book, it really is that it helps with that mindset shift. Like, because at that point I wasn't sure if I wanted to start my own plumbing company, but I just knew like I felt not stuck, but like, am I going to be doing this for the next 20, 30 years of my life? That finally hit me because I wasn't closer to really achieving my personal goals at that time, lifetime goals. And so that struck a nerve, reading the book or listening to the book. And then, of course, I guess I opted into somebody's SEO and started getting, invited to these quote unquote 2-day sessions on how to get into real estate. We'll say it like that.
Yeah.
So I actually ended up buying into the Rich Dad Poor Dad program.
Okay.
I originally got into it. And within that, I kept hearing all these people say, oh, it took me a year to get my first deal or 9 months or whatever. And I was like, that ain't going to be me because that's just not how I roll. And so I was looking into how to speed that up. Yes. So after I did that, I ended up buying into another program here in Texas local and getting a mentor.
Yes.
And I got my mentor. With the mentor, I ended up getting my first deal within like 2 months.
Wow.
Which was great. Yeah, which was great. And so upon that, I ended up connecting with other investors. Lawrence was the main one. He's the one that actually connected with the Kingdom.
Yes.
And he had one of his first a few deals we ended up meeting. And Jordan kept commenting under his posts.
Yeah.
Who is this white dude commenting with all
who's this tatted up white dude?
Yeah. So I looked into Jordan and saw that they had a community, and that's how I ended up joining the Kingdom actually.
Yep.
So
that's awesome. And then went through Kingdom and then Axiom, I believe, and then Ascension.
Yes.
And I mean, you've done kind of the gambit of it all.
I did actually.
Yeah. And then events, and like obviously Kingdom Connect was an event type that we did, and I will never forget this as a quick story for those that don't know. She's mentioned her plumbing company. I've mentioned it. Queen is a master plumber, owns her own plumbing company, and we're at this event at this short-term rental house. And like all of the sewage started backing up and like all of the drains, and Queen's like, I got this. And she like had a crew come over, and it was like, anyway, there's a whole story behind it for another time, but I'll just never forget. Like, we're like, wait a second, who's handling the plumbing? It's like, oh, it's somebody who's, here. And I'm like, who? I'm like, Queen's a plumber? What? That's fantastic. And then you're like, oh yeah, here's the problem. And like you had it all diagnosed and it was like, cool. Well, we can't stay here. We have to go somewhere else. Like, because it was pretty serious.
It had broken. Yeah, it had broken. Their main was broken. So
Yeah, they had like a piece of rebar driven through it or something like that. But that was, I'm like, wow, this girl's really impressive. And then that's where I met Queen. Anyway, but from there it was then Axiom, Ascension, things like that. So moving forward, then you got that's your story of getting started. Now, what have you done? What are some of the things that you've done in real estate moving forward? I mean, because it's quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah, I've done quite a bit. So I've done some subject to deals, owner finance, turned them into owner finance. Really just depends on the client, what they're going through, and how to best serve them to make it a win-win situation. I've done fix and flip. I own a few rentals. I'm actually looking into doing a commercial deal right now.
Nice.
I'm looking for the funding for it. Right now it's a motel here in Dallas. Let me see. I've done some deals outside of my market. So I have a couple houses in Ohio, actually.
Nice.
Let me see. Yeah, creative financing.
You've wholesaled.
Oh yeah, wholesale. Oh yeah, wholesale.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's by the way, that's a mark of somebody who's wholesaled so much they forget they wholesale because it just happens.
Yeah, wholesaling is cool. It's just your foot in the door. So like when I first got in, I was doing the subject to wraps. And yeah, so I really hadn't touched a wholesale deal to like my fourth deal, I believe. And it was because I was forced to wholesale it, not because I wanted to. Yeah. And so it just left a bad taste in my mouth. Because most times if I can keep it, I want to keep it. But neither here nor there. But yeah,
I mean, one thing I know about you is you like to do things on your own terms. I mean, we all do, but it's like you're like, I'm going to do things the way I want to do things. So if I have to be forced into doing it, I'm going to go and do things my own way.
Yeah. That was just to make sure that the seller didn't get into foreclosure because I mean they ended up signing multiple contracts. Yeah. So
it was what was best for the seller, basically.
It was what was best for the seller. Yep.
Solving their problem.
Yep.
That's awesome. And now you have her plumbing company, is what it's called, correct?
Yes.
Beautiful. So if you need plumbing services and you're in Dallas Fort Worth area, plug that. She's straight up amazing. But now that's been and then we were talking a little bit about this before the recording of like, that's been your main focus for the last year or more recently.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's scaling. It sounds like you bringing on team members, you've got a partner and things like that. And that's scaling.
I don't have a partner. I do have a team though. They're actually working in Capel right now. There's a broken main line that they're fixing. And then we have a couple water heaters to install today. But yeah, I am looking into scale. I had a meeting this morning with a guy about really probably getting into more into commercial because that's my background really is commercial plumbing. And so we're still going to be doing residential, but I'm looking into penetrating with doing like clinics and dental offices since I have my MedGas license.
Nice. I think you have like every license as it relates to plumbing. Do you?
I don't yet. I don't know if I want
pretty close. It's got to be pretty close.
Like fire sprinkler, I don't have that. Residential fire sprinkler cert. And then the other one is the backflow prevention.
There you go.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and all the other 87 you probably have. Because you just do that. I mean, that's how you operate. You're like, this is what's in front of me. This is what I want to accomplish, and I go and accomplish it. That's why you've been able to do. That's why we're able to have this conversation, and you to be like, oh yeah, I've done this and this and this and this. Oh yeah, and wholesaling. Oh, and I've done this with the plumbing company. It's just amazing to see where you're like, this is where I came from. This is where I started, and now I'm just going after whatever's in front of me, whatever I want, and I'm going to accomplish it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's incredible.
I
Like that mental fortitude is like we were talking about, like the Spartan races and things like that. Like you just have that mental fortitude of like, if I want it, I will do anything that I can to get it because I am bought in 100% on myself.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, self-belief is the biggest thing I would say for sure.
Yeah. I was just saying, I'm like, I wonder what you would consider to be the key to your success so far. Or maybe top 3 keys to your success so far.
Again, self-belief for
Yep.
sure. I really enjoy proving people wrong. A lot of people look at me and be like, she's not a plumber. That's interesting. And then even in the real estate space, it's very male dominated.
Sure.
And so, coming into someone's house as a woman, there's plenty of women in the space too. Let me say that. And,
Yeah.
I think we can get it in the door a lot quicker. And maybe our sales approach is smoother. We'll say it like that. Because at the end of the day, it's really how we can serve people. And that's the main thing that like the kingdom teaches, Jordan and Todd, is this is a people business, and we're out here to serve people. So it's a business, but we're out here to serve people. Do you actually care? That's the most important piece.
So self-belief and mental fortitude, basically, and working and operating with integrity and serving people. I don't know what else people need. I mean, that's it. That's the formula right there.
Yeah, you can run any business like that.
Exactly. And that's exactly my point. You're a living manifestation of that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. This is so cool.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So what you've been through Axiom, through Ascension, what were some of the biggest takeaways that you had from going through those programs?
We'll say biggest takeaway with Axiom. I'll say there's two big takeaways from Axiom. Yeah. So one of the as it pertains to wholesale,
yes,
is really the most important thing was being consistent in whatever you do. Jumping around, you're not gonna can't build any business building half bridges, basically. So whatever you do, you have to be consistent at it, period. Yes. And then the other thing with Axiom, I would say, is making sure that you're actually in the room and present, because I was in the room at the right time, it ended up actually adding another opportunity at that time, and it served its purpose. I mean, it was because when it came to the build out. So
that's huge.
Ascension, I think with the Ascension, I would say the biggest takeaway was more so kind of like a mindset shift or approach, as far as really thinking long term and really taking into account what your like long-term goals or vision is that you see for your life. Troy talks about life by design. Yep. And how you want to design your life. I would say that's like the biggest thing with that. Probably, and I still have to get into it because I probably need to get back as far as that is concerned, as far as tax structures. Once you get to that point and you are making money, like just had a meeting with my CPA. He's like, okay, we need to open up a new entity, and here's why. And I'm like, oh snap, okay, so have to create another entity.
The good problems to have.
Yeah. But it's different.
You still need help navigating it, and it's important to learn how to navigate it.
Yeah, and understand why too, so that you're not getting taken advantage of. Yeah. If you are connected to the wrong person.
That's a fair point. That's good. Mm-hmm. Well, last question I have for you is, what would you say to someone who's maybe getting their journey started in real estate or looking at level up to the next level? They're looking for kind of what you talked about in the beginning, where you were looking for a mentor. They're considering one of our programs and they're like ready to go, but they're just like a little hesitant to jump into the unknown. What would you say to someone like that?
I mean, you need to make a decision. I don't know what else. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're the person that actually commits to a decision that you make, then you'll be fine, because they literally have the blueprint. They're going to walk you through your deals. But, if you make a decision, commit to it and do what they tell you to do. That's about it. And don't overthink it. That's
Yeah.
annoying. You know, I think, you know, you get to a point where you get too much information and then you start overthinking.
Yeah.
But when I first got into it, I just trusted my mentor and did what they told me to do. And I got my first deal.
Yeah. That's it. Right there.
Oh.
I love it. I appreciate that word because I like you said, people overcomplicate it, keeping it simple and just being decisive. And that also flows right into what you're saying about living with and operating with integrity. Those two things are directly connected. So
Absolutely.
Queen, I really appreciate you taking the time. I truly appreciate you being a part of the groups and things like that. And it's been fun to see you continue to grow on the real estate side and on the business side and as a person. It's been fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, incredibly proud of you. Thanks for being a shining light and a shining example in all the communities.
I appreciate it.
Of course. Of course. You have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.
Alrighty.